morning and welcome to session 3 of our online exhibition Memories Brought Home, funded by the National Heritage Lottery Fund. My name is Caroline and we hope to showcase to you how local heritage has helped to improve the well-being of lonely and isolated people. Now, if this is the first episode you've watched, then you can go to our YouTube channel, Wessex Heritage Trust, and catch up with the ones that you've missed. If you're watching this live right now, then please do say hello in the comments bar. We're sat here waiting to say hello back and to answer any questions that you may have. Well, we've got a real treat lined up for you today. We're going to be taking you to the Watercress line, to Petersfield Physics Garden, and also talk to you about oral history. But before that, are you, like me, during lockdown, having trouble remembering what day of the week it is, never mind what the date is? Well, today is Wednesday, the 20th of May, 2020, in case you're struggling. But this next film is going to really mess with your mind as we take you to Winchester, to the beautiful cathedral there, where we took our fort group on tour. So all that remains for me to say now is... Merry Christmas, everyone!
Merry Christmas to everyone from me and Flash.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, everyone! Whee!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Hi everybody, Merry Christmas. I hope you're having a wonderful time.
Happy Christmas, everybody!
Merry Christmas, one and all.
Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Happy Christmas!
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Happy Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. And I can promise Santa's coming to visit. No, he wouldn't miss this in Christmas times. Oh, and the sun said it is just getting better on a blanket with the skyline painted in blue. Ooh, yeah, that's what we do. We'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the wind blows and the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sanctuary. Doesn't matter, it is Christmas in my heart. Here we go. All right. Now this Christmas, we're gonna dance. We're gonna dance. Come on.
Ah, that was brilliant. We had such beautiful weather that day too. Thank you, Hannah Morris and Callum Hutton, for creating that film for us. Two students from Portsmouth University who've been volunteering with us. and also to James McGregor, the very talented saxophonist that you saw playing in that clip. Part of our project was to record some oral histories, and here's my colleague Kate to tell you a little bit more about that.
Oral history is a recording of somebody's life story, whether it be in part or in whole. It might be for a specific purpose or just as a family record, but however it is recorded, they supplement official documents such as censuses and other recorded written documents such as diaries or newspapers. They're often stored in libraries, in archives, county records offices. Oral histories are often considered to be quite similar to a reminiscence session. However, where they differ is that this is a one-to-one activity in which an interviewer asks guided questions and the narrator, in their own words and their own voice, provide those answers. Recording oral histories about the same event gives you the opportunity to look at the same thing from a variety of different perspectives. Oral histories provide us with a permanent aural record of people's life stories, and we have used this as a means of demonstrating the wide diverse backgrounds that our volunteers and participants come from who have taken part in the Memories Brought Home project. I'm going to share with you some extracts of some of our oral history recordings. The first two have voiceovers from the transcriptions of the interviews. It always pays to check the quality of your sound recordings first. So let's hear from Sylvia about her memories of her family and family life with holidays.
I lived with my mother and my father, my two sisters and my brother. Mum was lovely. She looked after everybody. And Dad, well, he was strict. But everyone's dad was strict, and it never did us any harm. Dad used to save from one year to the next, so that all 4 kids, we could all go on holiday down to the coast. We often went to Paynton. We went there a lot. Sometimes we went on the train, and sometimes we went on a coach, or a charabanc as it was known then. I suppose it was quite unusual for that time.
Carolyn enjoyed holidays too, but hers went slightly further afield.
I went to the high school up the road. I had 2 friends there. We were like the 3 musketeers. One of my friends, Margaret, she had a pen friend in Holland, and we went over there one summer. When I got back, he sent me tulips from Amsterdam. I went to France too, on an exchange visit. I was about 12. Agnes came over here first, and then we went back together. We stayed at her grandparents' chateau. It was out of this world. We did all sorts of things in the afternoon, like sewing, old-fashioned buttons. I was there for about 6 weeks.
Our past experiences can colour the whole of our lives, as Alan discusses now.
I studied sociology. In the beginning of the 2nd year, I was invited, amongst other students, to consider taking part in a research project into the usefulness of Borstal. It was going to be a Christmas period living as a Borstal boy, and that meant leaving home, leaving my girlfriend, and I decided it was something worth doing. When I arrived, the first thing you do with the governor and be introduced. After that, you hand your clothes in and you get into your Borstal uniform, which was a dark blue sort of tunic-y top, trousers. But the thing I remember most is the underpants. They seemed like they're calico. They were really coarse. The only size they had was too big, and there's no elastic, so you had to get hold of the waist and knot it. Borstal was divided, like they all were, 2 houses. I was allocated Lank's house, and so I would be living with 20 other boys in a dormitory. Period for me to be tested out with suspicion was obviously in the dormitory. Who is this guy? Is he a squealer? It was a difficult choice because an induction, are you going to survive it? The first induction was new boys have to sing before they go to sleep every night. Luckily, I could sing and I knew quite a few of the pop songs of the time, so I did. That seemed to go down well. There was always counting. You were being counted on in and out. Working day would start after you've had your PT, you've had a quick wash, you get changed, quick breakfast. I remember the breakfast better than any other meals because it was porridge, always porridge, bread and marmalade and tea. After that you went out onto your work parties for a couple of hours, had a short break, another couple of hours, short break, then back in the evening. So hard work. I went out on the farm labourers parties. Overall, I think it enriched my life. In terms of social work, gave me experience of other people and other systems, but also an empathy with them. For me, it was the right career choice. I mean, it's something I never regretted.
And now Linda talks about the influence of her mother on her career choices.
Memories I've got of my mum. My mum was a very placid lady until it came to her children. One time when we were both in the same school, because I was in the first year of seniors when my brother was in the last year, one of the teachers at parents' evening said that it was a pity that Phil couldn't be more like me. We were both different. Yes, I was academic, but he had other skills. You know, he was very practical. Not something that should be saying. To my mum, she went into sort of protective mode then. It's the only time I've ever known her to be angry at anybody. She was very, very placid, very loving and kind, and it taught me to treat people how I'd like to be treated myself. I didn't come to my nursing until quite late in life. When I first left school, I went to college and then went to work for one of the big banks. And when I first started working for them, I was proud. I told everybody. And then by the time I actually left in 2000, I absolutely hated the job. For a long time, I thought, I don't know what I want to do. I just know it's not what I'm doing. And then I lost 4 members of my family quite close together. I thought, life's too short. And you do know what you want to do, you just haven't got the guts to do it. So I did. Qualified at the age of 38, worked in general paediatrics for a year and then moved across into specialist neonatal nursing. Been there ever since. I like to think that perhaps my mum did have an influence on that, so it just took a little bit longer to get through.
And finally, we can learn about social change in the workplace by listening to Bert's story.
At 14 I left school and went as an apprentice to a painter and decorator. I served a 7-year apprenticeship and after 7 years you got the sack because in those days they could take on a young boy like I was. And from that time my father said to me, why don't you go in the dockyard? I said, I'm painting in the dockyard, I don't know what to go in there. He said, well give it a try. So anyway, I went there, took a trade test. I was taken on as a painter and decorator in the dockyard. We used to work in pairs. Me and my chum, foreman came up to us and said, I want you two to do the victory, the windows. So we said, yeah, all right, fine. The victory was in dry dock. They used to lower us down on a wooden plank and tie us in at the bottom, pull us right into the windows, because if anyone had seen the victory, the stern goes right in narrow, goes slanting in. So we were actually, when the ropes were pulled tight, we were nearly like laying down and doing the windows, but like that, you know. Then my chum said, I'm not going to do this anymore. He said, I'm getting married tomorrow.
If you have an opportunity, I really do recommend that you sit down with a loved one and record their life story. They're so fascinating. And once they're gone, their stories will be too, unless we preserve them.
I loved hearing those stories, and there's plenty more where they came from. I wish we could play you more. I must admit I do regret not recording the oral histories of my own parents when I had the chance. So please take Kate's tip and do so if you can. Now, have you got your ticket ready? Because we are off to Ropley Station on the Mid-Hants Railway, affectionately known as the Watercress line, because they used to transport watercress between Alresford and London from the 1890s until the mid-1960s. We took the Fort group on tour there, had a day experience with the Volunteeros from the Gosport Voluntary Action Group, and had a unique opportunity to take some participants 1 day a week for 6 weeks on a work experience course. Did you hear the whistle blowing? Come on everybody, all aboard!
Steam Leviathans by Savannah Onslow, inspired by the steam trains at the Watercress line. Hiss, 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 ripping through the foliage that seeks to cover man's creation, whipping by wondrous landscapes and fields, startling cattle that graze by its rails. Hiss, hiss, hiss. It does not bother to gaze upon the natural world. Hiss, hiss, hiss. Forward, always forward. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The same rusted tracks, day after day. Its rage is regularly fueled, screaming along guidelines to industrial cities that help its journey to further darken the skies. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The beast releases a shrill whistle of success as it arrives at yet another station. Millions upon millions of those smaller, finely dressed, two-legged creatures board, and, if it had a mind of its own, it would wonder, who are they? Where are they going? Hiss, hiss, hiss. But steam leviathans are not sentient. Hiss, hiss. In the end, they will break. Hiss.
it at the Watercress line. The sight of those trains coming thundering down the track and the smell of that steam and the nostalgia of being there at the station. It was just such a stunning set. I hope you enjoyed that great poem by Savannah. Well, we have another one by Savannah now, but this time inspired by the Petersfield Physics Garden, called Perched in a Garden, and it's read to you beautifully by Jenny Walker. After that, we'll show you a film of the Arts and Crafts course that took place at Petersfield Physics Garden, and that's introduced by Judith, one of our volunteers who has been invaluable to the group.
Perched in a Garden by Savannah Onslow. Inspired by sitting in Petersfield Physic Garden and being drawn into the world of nature all around. Perched in a garden, the foliage is alive. Fairies with perfume petals lilt summer's song, their fragile bodies adorn beautiful dresses. A lovely green, intricately woven from strands of sunshine and embroidered with jewelled dewdrops as late morning approaches. Below them, the tall green grass stands as proud nobles who chatter among themselves. There is not one who is out of place, all wearing vivid colours of the earth in which they are bound to. Abruptly, a gush of sea breeze from a faraway coastline sends a collective gasp of awe rippling through the masses, and all sights are set on the glorious, invisible woman. As soon as she appears, she flees from the crowd, and none call out for her return apart from the harsh caw of the magpie prince. Now he follows her relentlessly, heeding the call of his heart. Yet capricious campanologists of bees do not hesitate in their bluebell ringings. As stray feathers fall with sudden departure from His Highness, a pure white butterfly takes his place. She situates herself at noble feet, spasming white wings finally coming to a rest. Her clambering legs are clumsy, not born for such endeavours as this. Yet still her determined little self seeks friendship with noble seedlings. Further west, on unpolished heels, stems a tree, branches that waver like ribbons frozen in time, never to tie the bow and adorn earth. Lining this world of magic and unseen mayhem is a wall that stretches tall, a shield glossed with ivy leaves and armed with reaching bows. He who protects the nation from these tall, two-legged beasts. Finally, pigeons. Useless excuses for guards, strutting the sandy paths and flashing their motif of rare yet organised decorations upon their feathers. Badges given to them from their fathers and their grandfathers. And so on. Nature continues to thrive in this ecosystem. In this garden, their garden.
This is the Petersfield Physic Garden. Our Arts and Crafts course took place here last summer. We were here for 4 mornings and enjoyed painting, planting, sewing, and creating a collage using pencil rubbings of various textures. This is an art form called frottage. We also learned about the history of the garden and the use of herbs in medicine. It was a lovely few days in great company, and we all took home something to feel proud of.
One of the tutors on the Arts and Crafts course was Michelle Puddy. And Michelle now is going to show you how to make 2 little hearts. The idea was inspired by a nurse working with COVID-19 patients. The idea is to give one heart to the patient and the other heart to the family of the patient. But here's Michelle to explain more.
Hello everyone, I hope you're keeping well during the lockdown. Thankfully it looks like it's nearly over, but until then I thought I'd show you something to keep you occupied. My name's Michelle and I'd like to show you how to make some of these hearts. There's our 2 hearts, the one that's turned inside out and the one that's done with the pink inches on the outside. You choose which one you want to do. Remember to make 2, so they've got one of each. Put them in a plastic bag and find out which hospital wants them. They keep them for 72 hours to make sure there's no COVID on them, and they give them out to the patients, or just make them for yourself.
Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Do join us again tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. if you can, cuppa in hand. And amongst other things, we'll tell you all about the Heritage Health Walks. But in the meantime, I'd like to leave you with Jenny Walker singing What a Wonderful World. So until tomorrow, take care, stay safe. Bye-bye.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, and so are the faces of people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? But what they're really saying is, I love you. I see babies crying, and I'll watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful